All right, all right. Peace to the family. We are now live. We are now live, family. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see somebody coming in from Brazil. Shout out to Belize. I'm sorry, Belize. Shout out to Wilford from Belize, tuning in all the way from Belize. We about to get started. Y'all see, I got a living legend with me on the line tonight. Gonna have an amazing show. Before I bring the brother on and introduce him once again, let's get into a few commercials and we'll be right back, family. All right? All right.
Hey there! Had a bad dream? I have dreams too. Some parts are scary and some parts are fun. Always remind yourself, it's only a dream and everything will be okay. I had a dream about being in a forest too. Check it out, my pet Petey was with me. Order your copy of Kayla Petey and the Forest on Amazon today.
Here, aka Goddess Guru, let me tell you something. When you think about magical people that seem to be manifesting the life of their dreams, those that have enough resources to do what they're called to do, and it just seems like the universe unfolds for them, it's no accident. Many of them are working with supernatural tools. I have created such a tool with my 2023 Angels Unleashed calendar. Go to VickyPlanet.com, buy them by the dozens. Let me see you there.
It's the numerational session with King Simon. Text your full name and date of birth to 347-496-1022. That's 347-496-1022. And get my books on Amazon now.
All right. Without further ado, let's welcome back to the show, family, Wayne Chandler. Welcome back, my brother.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Indeed. How's everything been for you? What you been up to, man?
It's been, just really keeping things moving, looking at the shifts that are taking place in the environment, in the world, and just making preparations, really trying to stay ahead of the game,
Yeah. What's your thoughts on what you've been seeing with everything going on in the world?
A lot of changes,
Yeah, a lot, yeah.
a lot of upheaval that is coming around the corner. And a lot of people just not being prepared for what's about to happen in the world.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people not prepared for what's about to happen, and unfortunately, hey, sometimes black people are the most unprepared. Sometimes, so that's
yeah, and it's really it's going to be tragic on this move because we're dealing with some really deep, nefarious, draconian intentions that are aimed at our communities, So preparation is everything right now. Everything.
Indeed. Any advice before we get started with the show you would give to people in terms of preparation? Like, what's the main thing you think? There
The
is a
main
main thing?
thing for me, again, is internal preparation first.
Right,
how
right.
are you aligned
Yes.
with the cosmological forces that are bringing downloads and your ability to absorb that information and utilize it and project it, on your own behalf as well as your community. And that gives you clarity. It gives you insights. It helps to create the necessary direction that you need to travel in, just to develop the level of security that you need with what's coming around the corner.
Indeed. Well, I want to thank you for the work you have brought to the world during your time in this dimension. Got one of the most classic books out there with Ancient Future. And me and you did the workshop. I believe it was last year, the Qigong workshop.
It
Yeah.
was close to this time. Well, it was in April, right?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
so. I think so. I think so. So that was an amazing workshop. A lot of people benefited. I still do some of the exercises that I learned in the workshop.
Awesome.
So I think that is something when you're talking about internalizing this energy, people don't realize the work you teach, how important that is. And when the work I'm talking about is the breath and breathing and qigong and stillness. And I guess I want to start out today with in terms of what you deal with and the breath. And I heard Sadhguru say one time that people think of the ear around them. And I heard Sadhguru say one time that ear is only the medium and that the breath is that which binds you to the body, but it's not the actual ear. The air is just a medium for the breath. So could you
Mhm.
give a deeper description of what this prana, this holy breath, this chi, this thing that we're being taught to inhale, exhale, that's all around us? Could you give a deeper explanation to people who may not understand what it actually is?
Yeah, there's actually a process that a person, just a regular average person, can use to like look at the atmosphere, the air around them in a very specific manner. So you're not looking with direct intention. You're kind of looking beyond what it is that's in front of you. And when you do that, you're able to see all of these like sparkling particulates in the air. And these sparkling particulates are actually prana, or life force reflections of energy. And so when you do specific types of breath work, this is what you're pulling in. And when you create specific patterns, you pull in this energy and basically direct the energy in specific ways to have very definitive effects in different ways in the body based on the type of breath work that you're doing. So, for example, if you're doing like what we learned in the workshop, alternate nostril. So when you do alternate nostril, its focus, its true authentic focus is to basically activate what's called the kalash. The kalash is the immobility that takes place in the channels that are opposite the central channel of the body. The central channel runs here, from down here, all the way down the center of the body. The autonomic process, or what they call in the yogic tradition, Ida Pingala, are two channels that are opposite the central channel. The longer you can keep the breath in one or other of these channels, the wider the central channel becomes. The wider the central channel becomes, the deeper it connects to the impartial mind in the subconscious, which is the area, the abode of manifestation. So, just by activating and basically refining, cultivating the breath in that way gives you the ability to walk around and develop instantaneous manifestation abilities and principles.
I like what did you say? Sparkling particulates? What was that word you use?
Yeah, they are little. When you look at it, you're going to see these. They're like miniature lights.
Mm. You know what's interesting about when you're talking about the breathing. One of the things I want to ask you and talk to you about. It's funny when I slow down my breathing, I'm able to, like, say if I'm stargazing, I see more stars in the sky. I hear more of nature. All of my senses are heightened when I slow my breath down. You could, like, you see, like they say we could see like 10% of the light spectrum or whatever it is. When you slow down, it's like you see more of that. So
Right.
I definitely I could get what you're saying with the sparkling particulates. That definitely makes a lot of sense, my brother. Definitely.
Yeah, there's,
But
the breath is key. I mean, when you look at the book by Swami Ramachakara, The
mm,
Science of Breath,
mm,
and in that book, he gives all kinds of practices that one can do
mm,
to activate different abilities,
mm,
to open up and cultivate powers that we naturally come into the world with, we're born with,
Mm.
but that 3D disconnects us from.
Right.
Now, the thing about that book, because so many people back in the day got that book and they practiced the techniques in the book, but didn't really acquire any level of mastery. And that was because in the book, he doesn't give you Kachari Mudra or tongue connection.
Oh.
Whenever you go into doing breath work, you have to apply Kachari Mudra or tongue connection
Why?
because that aligns and connects the channels in your body that allows the chi force to flow through.
So that would be the equivalent of putting a plug in a socket to
Exactly.
allow the energy to.
Exactly.
Mm. So you saying you taking your tongue and where you just putting it at the roof of your mouth is
Taking the tip of your tongue, the very tip,
the very tip.
putting it on the ridge that runs along the roof of the mouth. If you want to get more specific, there are 3 indentations along that ridge. Each one designates a particular area in the body where the energy will flow to.
Right.
So the first indentation is the wind point. The second is the fire, which correlates to the heart energy. And the third is the water point, which they call the main thrusting route, which corresponds to blood, sex energy, and all fluids that are water based, which move through the system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely interesting. Wayne, would you say that proper breathing is more important to our bodies mentally, spiritually, emotionally than proper eating? Because there's so much focus with the vegan movement on proper eating and so little focus on proper breathing. Do you think the breathing is a little more important, or I ain't trying to get you in trouble, man. The vegans, them, they ruthless. Man, they'll come after you.
You know, I like to approach just living holistically.
Mm,
So the breath is incredibly important because it feeds in to pretty much every process that we're connected to.
mm,
So, for example, if I'm doing a workshop and we have a break, say for lunch, people go out, they come back, they've eaten.
yeah.
So that means now energy is being removed from the process of the practice and going into the digestive process. So the first thing I do when they come back into the class is I have them lay down and I give them the first breathing technique that they learned, which aids in the digestion of their food. And they're literally able to feel the food that they just ate be digested in their system and removed from the abdominal area.
Mm, wow. Ba- just because of the breathing technique you showed.
Just because of the breathing technique.
Mm. You know what? I heard somebody say, let me know. You can tell me if this is true or not, because I do the whole, I do the cold shower thing. After I started off hot, then I turn cold, and they say that helps digest your food. Now I know when the water turns cold, I'm like, so is that breathing impacting the
Well,
digestion of the
you
food?
know why that, you know what happens is when you do that, it builds greater internal fire in
Oh,
your body.
okay.
Your body makes the adjustments to bump up your yang energy, which goes into the digestive principle.
Oh, okay.
So that's what happens.
So the fire is what's helping digest that food.
Right.
And doing it
Exactly.
right. I get it. Yeah. Same way, like if you outside, and you start breathing like that, it's cold outside. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm,
Yep. You
no.
generate that heat.
Let me ask you this: based on geographical location, you got some brothers that live in the tropics. They may live in you know, Trinidad or Jamaica
Or Belize.
or Belize. Some brothers live in New York. Now, based on the geographical location, should you breathe according to that location? Because New York is different. Should I breathe, approach breathing different than if I was in Jamaica, or should the breathing be the same wherever you are on this globe?
That's a good question. You've got to adjust the principles of inhalation in the breath,
Uh-huh.
depending on your location.
Okay.
Because New York, being as atmospherically toxic as it
Exactly.
is,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
you
Yeah.
don't want to be breathing in all of those toxic particulates because that's going to like run your system ragged.
Yeah.
Whereas in places like Belize, Jamaica, you know, just out in the bush, when you breathe, you're going to pull in more prana, more
Mhm.
life force energy,
Mhm.
and you want to use that to your benefit. Even like I took time once to drive across the country, took me 16 days
Whew.
because I camped out at different locations, and it was an amazing experience because at each one of those locations, which was far removed from cities, towns, like really out in the country, I was able to really pull in more life force energy into the breath work that I was doing. And the accelerated push that I got from breathing like that in that kind of environment was phenomenal.
Mm.
I mean, my whole body was set, literally was set abuzz. My whole body just like vibrated
Mhm.
in such a short period of time, just through being out in the country and doing that kind of breath work.
Wow. Do you, Wayne, do you have any devices at home that assist with air quality? Like I was interviewing a brother like last week and we was talking about negative ion generations, air purifiers, all this
Yeah,
stuff. Do you use that, and
yeah,
what would you recommend to us, my brother?
yeah. I've got a couple of them. There's one that I've been using for quite some time, and I have a smaller unit of the same that I use. Like one deals with your entire house. It's that big.
Ooh.
And then the other that I have is spatially designed for just like, say, a bedroom.
Right.
But one of the things I've seen, recently, like if you look in magazines like Sharper Image and other types of mags that come through the mail, there are a lot of air purifying units now that seem to be very accessible.
Any plants you would recommend?
Plants,
Yeah,
yeah,
any.
definitely. The more plants that you have, and plants take up, they have varying responsibilities. So you can have plants that are good for generating more oxygen
Mm-hmm.
and the purification of the environment
Mm-hmm.
on an oxygenated level, as well as a energetically psychic level. Like,
Mm-hmm.
for example, cactus.
Right.
Cacti project out of their needles specific energy forces
Mm.
which are attuned to basically removing any kind of unwanted, spirit forces that may be occupying space.
Mm. Mm. I'm gonna do a lot of comparing of air to water tonight. They say Dr. Valentine talks about air being a different form of water. And that's why you could, they say when you say you driving down in the and you're driving fast in the car, you could feel the wind. It has even though you can't see it, it has a presence. And they say that we're 75 or something percent water, and that we need this water to hydrate ourselves and for function. And our brain is a large percentage of our brain is water. Since air is water, can breathing hydrate the cells as well? Is breathing a form of intaking fluid, just like drinking some water from this bottle is a form of intaking fluid? Is it the same thing?
You can, but again, you have to go back to like there are specific breathing practices
Right.
that one learns that when they pull the air into the body, that the body disperses that and turns that into a more water-based, substance.
Mm, mm.
So there's a way like when you curl the tongue and you take in air in that manner, then what the body is doing, you're giving notation, you're giving direction to the body to remove the H2O, to remove the water, the fluid from that breath that you've
Yeah.
just pulled into your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you say that during the workshop? Because I missed that part. Did you say that
No,
part?
I didn't say that.
Come
I
on,
didn't
man.
talk about
Wait, come on. Why you come on, brother? Oh, we need that,
that.
man.
This is the thing. There's so much
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
There's so much, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, really to do a solid workshop that goes through and really exposes a lot of the secrets. You're talking about, a good solid 2 days. And that's usually what I do. When I was down there in your backyard in Atlanta, back, what was that? December. In December, I did a workshop. It was a 2-day workshop.
Mm. Well, you was with Tassili, right? Was
Yeah.
you? Okay. Damn, you it was a 2-day. Wow. So you saying 2 days to really get this thing down pat?
Yeah.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had a nice turnout. I think we had about 30 people, man.
Mm.
You know?
Mm. Yeah, we gotta do something like that, Wayne. Like a 2-day joint. Definitely gotta do something like that, man.
Yeah.
Oh man. Now let me ask you this: in terms of breathing, there's so many people with are depressed, are suffering from mental illness, different emotional states. In terms of breathing, like let's use an emotional state such as anger. Is it impossible to be angry while breathing slowly? Like, is anger only associated with like hostile breathing? Like, can I breathe like you, Wayne, namaste, and be angry inside at the same time? Or they're not compatible with each other?
That's a good question because
Like, Ray
there's a
laughing.
level of incompatibility.
Uh-huh.
That doesn't mean that anger cannot exist, but what it denotes is your ability to control the anger.
Mm.
And
Mm.
that's what the slowing down of the breath creates when you're in that kind of a state. It gives you the ability, the clarity to direct how you want that energy to leave the body, your body.
Indeed. Wow. In our if in our right state of mind, Wayne, if everything is going good for us, and we didn't have all this drama and stress going on right now, what would you say would be the appropriate amount of breaths we should take per minute? Like, I don't know what it is now, but I know it's probably way too much than what we should be taking now. But what would you say we shouldn't breathe more than this per minute? What would you say that is, Wayne?
Yeah, I mean, there's certain calibrated respiratory factors, that go in to how many breaths one should take. And it really it's interesting because in my book Ancient Future, I actually talk about that because it aligns itself in terms of the number of breaths, in terms of the number of times that we're supposed to respire. It really connects to, again, the number nine.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at the number of breaths that you take in a minute, the number of breaths that you take in an hour, the number of breaths that you should take within a 24-hour period. And some of that has to be adjusted because when you go into sleep mode, of course, your breathing should slow down, substantially in terms of the number of breaths that you're taking. But they all come out to nine energy. All of them come out to
Mm,
nine energy.
mm. Interesting. Very interesting. Now, in terms of like, I got the Buddha here. Like, you can't see him now. He's off camera.
I
Shout out to the
got it.
Buddha statue. Yeah, yeah, I know. I read in Ancient Future. I know you into the. In terms of Buddha, some of the representations of Buddha, we see him with the big belly, and people like, damn, why Buddha fat for? Buddha always fat. Buddha big ass belly on Buddha. Is that associated with deep breathing? That's why his belly's so big. Does that
Yes,
have to do with deep
what
breathing?
they do is it's associated with the accumulation of chi.
Okay.
So the more you get into your breath work, the more life force you develop in the body mind.
Mm,
When you collect that, see, this is the thing, and this is really important with people who do internal practices or they're learning internal practices. After you go through a series of doing internal practice, you should collect the energy for storage. And there are
mm,
specific ways of collecting and storing that energy. And the area where you store it is in and around the navel center. So
right,
the
right.
more energy you store and collect in that area, what they represent with the Buddha is the larger the area becomes, the more distended the abdominal area becomes, because they're trying to show you that this is how much chi energy he's collected.
So if you running around with a six pack, you ain't got no chi energy down there or something, man?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
I want to make sure. I want to make sure.
I'm saying that symbolically,
Yeah.
that's their representation, but it
Okay.
doesn't, because I've got some of the oldest, like images
Mm,
of the Buddha,
mm,
and he doesn't have that kind of stomach at all.
mm.
He did have like a six pack.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah.
No, definitely, definitely. A lot of us, Wayne, smoke marijuana. I smoke it from time to time, not too much. I'm not much of a smoker. I'll have a drink of wine before I smoke, but a lot of people smoke. And in terms of breathing and smoking, uh, how does marijuana affect the breathing at all? Is it more if I want to practice your exercises and I smoke the joint before, does that make your exercises even more powerful, Wayne?
It takes you into a different place, and it really depends on the type of herb that you're smoking,
Yeah.
because they're different and they each one has a different impact on the body mind.
Hmm.
So it really depends on the species, the variety of herb that you're smoking. But if it's that species that's designated for breath work and more spiritually um, aligned, practice, then yeah, it's going to take you deeper into the body mind experience,
Hmm.
meditation, um, the flow, the movement of energy becomes heightened, so you're actually able to like feel more profoundly
Mm,
the
mm,
chi as it's flowing through the meridians.
mhm, mhm. We're talking about breath and controlling our breath and breathing slow. I guess along with that, um, like the way we walk, we should kind of observe that as well, huh, Wayne? Like, in New York, we're always on the move. We walking like that. We're like little mice in a cage in New York. So I guess that's something that we need to analyze as well, huh, Wayne? The way we walk or how we walk, huh?
Yeah, because that's indicative, of a state of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're moving at a very, accelerated pace, a hurried pace, then that's saying that this is what you're thinking up here.
Hmm.
You know, that's how your mindset is.
Hmm.
And, sometimes it can be intentional. When I'm in New York, I mean, I move fast,
Hmm.
but it's intentional.
It's intentional.
So the mere fact that I'm making it intentional, I was up in Midtown once, and way up. I don't know. I was like maybe up, around 62nd Street or somewhere like that,
Hmm.
and I was making a move all the way back down to where I was staying, which was, think like around 22nd between 10th and 11th or somewhere. So I'm making a move walking down the street, and this cat comes up and he's like, measuring me. So, I mean, it's obvious to me that this cat is measuring me, in
Yeah.
terms of like trying to step up on me. So I say to myself, well, let me see what kind of shape you're in. So I start walking faster to see if he really has, that New York, you know, cultivated energy where he can keep up.
Right.
He kept up for maybe about 10, 15 blocks, but after that, he was gone. I just stayed in my breath the whole time, connected my tongue, and just kept my pace, at an accelerated level,
Hmm.
and watched him fall by the wayside, after 10, 15 blocks.
Wow, that's something. Yeah. How come when they always reference the breath, they measure it a lot in like 60 seconds? You got to do this in 60 seconds. That what is it about 60 seconds? Like they don't do it in like 30 seconds, 5 minutes. They always do like 60 seconds.
Yeah, it really depends. I mean, you can break it down into increments like that. It depends what the intention is.
Hmm.
Because it's not always framed in 60-second allotments. It really depends on what the intention is, what you're trying to do.
And you use the word intention a lot. And like I said, I'm going to be referencing air to water. With water, they teach us that if we write our intention on the bottle, the water will, crystallize into that the vibration of that intention. Do,
Right.
do you also um put your intentions in the air? Like if you're in a room, you may speak it into the air because it's water and it crystallizes into the air. Do you do that?
Everything is intention.
Yeah.
Everything is intention. I think one of the things I mentioned before when we did the workshop was an area of the brain called the reticular activating system.
System. Yes.
And that system basically is all based on intention. And whatever intention you generate out into the world is what it brings back to you.
Yeah.
So if you feel less than, the reticular activating system is going to bring examples of that to you throughout the course of your day.
Hmm.
If you feel that, you're not abundant, if you feel that you're moving with a poverty consciousness, then
Hmm.
the reticular activating system is going to bring examples of that to you every single day. If you
Hmm.
flip that switch, then you're going to get just the opposite. just the opposite. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to get feelings and perceptions of greatness. And
Mm-hmm.
that greatness feeds into like just greater, profound abundance that lets you know you're, able to generate in your life,
Mm-hmm.
and intention is just it's everything,
Mm-hmm.
it's everything.
Mm-hmm. These sparkling particulates that you referred to earlier that you see when you slow down your breath, are these particulates, are these what eventually forms our reality? Like they may just be sparkling particulates, but a month later they may be the car that you're driving in.
that's a good that's a good projection of potentialities,
Yeah, that's what.
yeah, because all energy moves into various constructs.
uh,
And within those constructs, that energy creates direction.
mm,
So, yeah, those particulates could easily find their way into specific conduits that go into the creation and the manifestation of a car, the manifestation, of a thought process,
mm,
the manifestation of a river flowing, through the woods,
mm,
because energy is never destroyed. you
mm.
know it's all just redirected,
Right.
reformatted, and then remanifested,
Definitely.
so it
Definitely.
can end up in anything at any time, anywhere.
Definitely. Is there a particular time of day or night that you find that practicing your breathing is most beneficial? Like the entrepreneurs, they be like 5 a.m. in the morning, get up at 4 a.m. in the morning. That's the time. Is there a certain time you think, Wayne? I see you nodding no. Talk to me.
This is the thing.
Yeah.
When you do real, authentic internal practice,
Yeah.
the time is from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And
11
in
a.m.
the evening, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. That's when you're able to pull in and generate much greater chi force in your body.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the chi, like I like to do my morning practice and also an abbreviated evening practice.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you lock into your morning practice of breath work and energy cultivation,
Mm-hmm.
your body is working consistently during the course of the day to like really refine that. So if you go back and you do an abbreviated segment that evening, you've got massive chi that
Mm-hmm.
you just now collected
Mm-hmm.
that is spinning off of what you did earlier in that day. And
Mm-hmm.
the energy is different. The
Mm-hmm.
energy is just different. It's more intense.
What would you say, Wayne, is that what's you've done a lot of research, field research, book research. What is the most ancient term for breath that you have come across? Is it
Oh,
prana or like what's the most ancient term?
probably Fajin.
Can you spell that for us?
Yeah, Fajing, and
5G.
it's reflective. Sunwa is another one.
How you spell that one?
Sunwa, and those are
5G.
spellings. Sunwa comes out of the ancient African internal systems, fighting systems,
Uh-huh.
and it reflects a certain expression of spirit force.
Uh-huh.
And Fajing is a type of energy that's cultivated in the internal practice, which was formed initially in ancient Kemet.
Mm.
So those are like the oldest that I can say that I'm familiar with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, chi also has deep antiquity, and chi is reflective of internal practice. That word is found in Africa as well as in ancient China with the black civilizations of the Xia and the Shang dynasties.
Oh, Wayne, is that where when you mentioned chi several times? Is that where we get the word key from? Like they be like, "Yo, I got the keys to life." Key is it comes from chi, huh?
Ki is a reflection of the word chi.
Chi.
Ki is what and how they refer to chi in the Japanese language.
Uh-huh. Do you have a favorite? You know, you mentioned Japanese, we mentioned Buddha, you mentioned Kemet. Do you have a favorite system? Like, yo, these niggas got the best breathing techniques in the world. Like, do you have a favorite system out there?
I take the best of what I can find from all
And
systems
just put it
and I
together.
create my own.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, should I think I asked you this before, and maybe we discussed this in a workshop, but I'm gonna ask this again for people watching right now. Should men practice different breathing exercises than women? Like, are our lungs different? Is this different, that different, and we need to do different type of exercise? Like, the woman may need more yin, and me may need more yang. Like, is it like that, or is it like?
It's an excellent question.
Thank you, brother.
Excellent. Women have, different sets of practices that they can do to like really embellish uh, specific body mind focal points that they want to like really, develop, um, activate, and men can do likewise. So women have specific practices that they can do to, like, say, for example, breath work around, certain sexual practices, vaginal practices, breast based practices,
Mm.
they definitely, there are masculine and feminine specifics in the internal practice sets, beyond the shadow of a doubt. Yeah.
You know, and it's funny you mentioned sex because my next question was going to be in terms of the primal sounds we make during sex. Like a man may, if a dude is coming, he may say, ah. If a woman, she makes her set of sounds. Is that something we should practice saying away from sex because that is causing us to, internalize a certain energy? So, like, not just say ah during sex. When I meditate, be like ah, ah. Like, is that created a certain chi outside of the sex arena?
Let me tell you, you're going deep tonight.
Oh yeah, come
So,
on, come on.
so,
I'm happy to have you back on here, Wayne. Come on, man. Ain't have you back on here in a while. Go ahead.
so there are sounds. For example, insects. If a man feels like he's about to ejaculate, he can actually go and make this tone, which reverberates down into the lower regions, and it disperses the energy that has built up and is now allowing that man to continue on in the act without that pressurized feeling of ejaculation. And it's just
Damn.
starting in the throat and
Right. Wow. Wow. That's some hell of a wow. You ain't go over that in the workshop either. We really gonna
No,
have
I
to.
didn't
We really gotta do this 2-day workshop, Wayne.
go.
Wow, we really gotta do this. I see, man. And for all the ladies out there, Wayne, when they're giving birth, they want to get that baby out of them. Is there any recommended sound they should make when giving birth that the doctors may not know or may not want to tell the woman?
There are definite breathing techniques and practices that a woman can do when
Mm,
she's given birth
mm,
that will make the release, because what it does, it lessens the resistance of the tissue that is in the area that is creating some degree,
mm,
of, you can say, pushback,
mm,
because everything is opening,
mm,
everything is expanding.
mm,
So a woman can actually do specific breathing techniques at that time, which allows greater opening
mm,
and greater expansion, and therefore more ease in delivery.
mm, mm. Definitely. You know what's unfortunate about the culture we in? The culture is so vain that a large percentage of the culture practice holding in their stomach all damn day. So our level of breathing is horrible. When you talk about eating fast food, man, this is like we that's like drinking soda, I guess you could say. Like the way we breathe, we're trying to like walk around like this all day, and we're like, how harmful that got to be real harmful, huh?
It's bad. It creates a lot of stress laden constriction in the entire body mind. You know,
Yeah,
yeah, there's no question about that. No question about that. And that's why one of the things that I recommend for people is, as you move through your day,
mm,
just keep your tongue connected. If
mm.
I'm not eating,
Okay.
sleeping, or talking,
Keep your
I
tongue.
connect my tongue. My
Mm,
tongue stays connected. And in doing that, I'm not only circulating a consistent flow of energy in my body, but I keep my crown open and the chakra points in my feet active, so that I'm pulling energy from down and in, and from the earth up and in. And it allows you to have a whole nother level of focus,
I gotta.
totally different level of focus. It's like you're now moving and walking and operating in a constant meditation.
I got it. This is good, so good. I don't want people to not get this. I'm doing a Google search on tongue on the roof of the mouth. Is there anything I could type in that you think it'll come up? That
Kachari Mudra,
okay, hold up. You gotta spell that, Wayne. How you spell that? Hmm? Hmm?
KECHARIMU.
ERA.
Right.
Let's see what we see here. Give me a second, family. I wanna give me a second. Let me see if all right, uh you know what? Let me just show this page and then we'll go. Give me a second, family, because we're gonna get this right. I think we're gonna have to do this 2-day workshop, family, with Wayne. Hold up. All right. Let's see. Is
Yep,
can you see okay, so the this is the can you see my pointer? I don't know if you can see it.
that's it.
So this is the tongue. This is the tongue, and it goes. You see where it says soft plate? Does it go where it says soft plate?
Uh-huh. So what you want to do, the strongest of the 3 points is all the way back where the hard palate dips into the soft and fleshy area of the back palate. That's the water point, and that's the strongest area that generates the most profound flow of life force energy.
Oh, where it's hard before it goes soft again.
right in between the hard and the soft.
Oh.
Right in between.
Yeah, Wayne, that's hard to keep that for a while. I never do that. That's all the way
You
back
have
there.
it takes practice. It takes practice. When I first started doing Kachari Mudra, I was only good for maybe about 15 minutes. And then over time, I had to just keep working up through the practices that I was doing until I could hold it indefinitely.
Shit, you said 15 minutes. I thought you was gonna say 15 seconds. You act like 15 minutes ain't good. Shit. That sounds good to me, brother. Putting your tongue all the way back there. Wow. So how long can you do it for now then, Wayne?
It's indefinite. I can keep it back there as long as I want.
Oh, you like Superman. God damn. Okay. All right. I hear you. Wow. Okay. So, all right. So, family. All right. So, the hard part in the back going to the soft part, in between the hard and the soft.
Right. Right in between the hard and the soft
And
is
you,
the
and you,
water
and
part.
you use this on your tongue
Yep, the very tip of the tongue.
back there. Okay. All right. Wow. Okay. Man, family, this is amazing show. Can you show us the alternate nostril technique or any technique that's simple to demonstrate? Is there anything you can show us?
Yeah, sure. One let's do two techniques.
Okay. Let me put you on the
One
screen.
would be say the lung sound, since we're talking about breath.
Uh,
So the lung sound, and we went over this. This is one of the healing sounds.
mm-hmm.
And this is one of the sounds that, you know, basically opens up, removes any kind of energetic constriction. And the lungs' emotional correlations are on a positive, strength and courage. On the negative, despair, sadness, remorse. So for the lung sound, you start here, inhale, so that clears negative energy, emotional energy from the lungs.
Mm,
The alternate nostril has three different levels to it.
mm-hmm.
The first level is just getting you acclimated to the process, which is a 6:3 inhalation and exhalation ratio. So you close off the right first, inhale into the left, Inhale to a count of 6. The tongue is connected.
Mm-hmm.
Inhale to a count of 6. Hold to a count of 3. Switch. Exhale to a count of 6 out of the right. Hold to a count of 3. Inhale back into the right to a count of 6. Hold to a count of 3. Exhale out of the left to a count of 6. Hold to a count of 3. That's the ratio that you begin working with the alternate nostril. After you begin to become comfortable with that, then you drop the ratio, the inhalation and exhalation ratio 6:3. You drop it. And what you want to do at that point is you just want to block off, inhale, and just hold for as long as it's comfortable for you. Hold the breath. After you've held the breath for as long as it's comfortable, block off that nostril. Exhale. Hold the breath for as long as it's comfortable. Inhale back in. Holding the breath for as long as it's comfortable. Now, what's happening during these various processes is the air, the breath is changing in quality. So you're now actually pulling in more of those energetic particulates that are chi based.
Yeah.
After you do the second process, then you want to move to nostril flaring. Nostril flaring is now you want to pull the breath up and in through those channels without blocking the course. You just want to flare, inhale and hold, flare, exhale and hold, flare, inhale and hold. And that's the process for the alternate nostril. What that does is the longer you can hold the breath in these channels that run opposite the central channel, the more expanded the central channel becomes, the more energy you're now able to move through the central channel, and the deeper the central channel connects to the impartial mind, which again is the area in the subconscious, which is the abode of manifestation.
Yeah, this is this is some good stuff here, Wayne. This is some real good stuff here. So, all right, so I've been talking with a lot of brothers about, like I said, I'm gonna be using a lot of I'm gonna be comparing water a lot with air in this video to understand this thing we call prana, chi, or air, or whatever. I've been talking to brothers about water, and a lot of brothers, there's a movement. Brother Yaki's talking a lot about structured water. and that a lot of the water we get from the tap water is dead water. It's not structured like fruit has structured water, or water that comes through certain sacred geometry is structured. So are we like breathing in with those techniques structured air?
Oh, no question.
That's what it
Yeah,
would be, structured air, huh?
because the one thing, again, what do we go back to? Intention.
So the intent, okay, okay.
And the intention creates the design of the air that you're now pulling into the nostrils.
Mm. The intention.
Yeah. So my intention in alternate nostril is to get to the impartial mind. So
Okay.
when I lay that intention, then my mind takes over and directs the course, and thereby changes and focuses on the quality of the breath that I'm now pulling into the nostril orifice.
Let me ask y'all, family. If we do a 2-day workshop in Atlanta, how many of y'all will come? I'm curious. I haven't done an in-person event in a long time. I haven't been able to get a spot to do this big event I want to do as of yet. But how many of y'all will come to the 2-day workshop? I'm just curious to know how many of y'all are interested, because I'm intrigued by stuff like this, because I know this is what's going to get me to be this godlike being I know I am deep down inside. Let me see what y'all talking about. I'm there, one, me, yes. Depending on the date, I will come to New York to ATL. I always want to go to ATL. 90-day heads up, make it UT. I'm gonna look into it, family. I'm gonna look into it. Because it wouldn't have to be as big as a spot if I did something huge. But I'm trying to figure out like how many people will come to an event, a breathing workshop, a 2-day event. So I'm gonna look into that. But this brother here, you a gem, man. You a gem, Wayne, and that's why I'm so excited. The questions is just flowing. I'm glad to have you back on here again, man. This is some good stuff. Let's get to a couple of questions before you get out of here, Wayne. Give me a couple of questions for this brother before we get out of here. And I'm definitely gonna keep that in mind, family. I might do that. I might do that. I'm gonna keep that in mind. I'm gonna keep that in mind. All right. I got to see. That means I will have to rent the place for 2 days. So I'm gonna look into that, family. I'll let y'all know. But in the meantime, give me some questions for the brother Wayne Chandler, and before we get out of here. And you don't have a cash app, right, Wayne? You don't deal with the technology like that, right? You ain't gotta.
No, I don't have a cash app, man, but I mean, and that's a whole nother topic, but just in terms of what's about to happen in the whole financial world, because,
Yeah.
I mean, the CEO of Cash App, because they
This, yeah.
launched Fed Now.
Yeah.
Fed Now goes live next week, and its design, is a reflection of the Cash App design.
Mhm.
And they took him out, and the cat who was the CEO of Zelle as well. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. We gonna
so yeah, man, that's a whole nother.
whole nother
Yeah,
conversation. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna if y'all would like to, if y'all enjoyed today's show, and I know y'all did, and y'all want to support this channel so we could continue to make programs like this, you can hit up my cash app at the bottom of the screen, $ Black Magic 363. Let's get into some questions. Now I seen one that I want to ask already. Where did it go? Wait, okay, here. This is what I want to ask. Which hermetic law is connected to breath? Good question. You got that book. Yeah. Come on, Wayne. Come on.
You can really go through a couple of them. You can go through correspondence, as above, so below. You can go through polarity, because with polarity, you're literally moving into the dynamics of yin and yang. And breath practice, breathing practices reflect and spin off of those qualities of
Mm-hmm.
yin and yang.
Mm-hmm.
So polarity definitely, has a very powerful imprint, with the breath word.
Indeed. All right, let's get to the next question. Can you explain why I feel as I hold my breath underwater, I can still breathe somehow?
Probably because at one point in time, in your existence, when you actually lived in water, when you were in the embryonic fluid, you know, when you were being carried by your mother, you were breathing underwater.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Matter
Okay.
of fact, there was a movie that, what's the name of that movie? Um, it's an old school movie. I can't think of the name of it, but he had to learn how to breathe underwater to get to this alien ship. Really, what he was trying to get to was a nuke that these cats had launched, had dropped in this deep area of the ocean that no one had ever gone to because the depths would just literally make the lung explode. So he had to learn how to breathe underwater, and he had to fill his lungs with this other type of fluid that would allow him to breathe like that underwater. And I can't remember the name of the movie, but it's a great movie and everybody should check it out. It's really good. And I believe that it's a movie that integrates with the times that we're getting ready to move into.
Okay. Okay. Let's get for the some those asking somebody asks about my PayPal, they don't have Cash App. I'm gonna put that on the screen for y'all. That's mainly for I guess for the people that's out the country. Um hmm, let's get to another question. I just said nope. Give me 1 second, Wayne. Somebody keep asking this. Don't spam the chat, but I'm asking this question. What's his take on the ringing in the ears?
It really depends. It really depends because in some aspects it can actually be a condition called tinnitus. In other aspects, it can be like a literal reformation and reforming of certain faculties in the brain, which is allowing different frequencies to come in to reshape and repattern different areas, of the cerebellum. And it would depend. I mean, you'd have to be asked a specific amount of questions, which would determine which area that falls upon.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Um, get to another question. Um, I don't see why am I not. Somebody said break down what a god is. Wayne's like, come on, man.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what I'm saying.
That may be that's a whole show within itself. So let me get to another. I'm trying to another question. Um, okay. Has the brother ever experienced seeing his glow?
Oh yeah, yeah, always. I mean, one of the things, and I believe we did this in the workshop, was when we projected the hologram and we scanned our holograms, which was the visual image of ourself projected into space. When you do that, you can actually feel and develop the ability to see the colors and the glow of your auric fields.
Mhm. That was a great part of the workshop for those who. Any of y'all participating in the last workshop me and Lloyd did? Yeah, let me know if we have any of the members from that workshop in here. I see somebody said or paid Zoom. I would absolutely pay to take. Yeah, I would do the Zoom, but for what Wayne does, I wouldn't want it to be just virtual. For the next one, I would want Wayne to be there in person. I ain't gonna lie. I would definitely want to have an in-person workshop. We could do the virtual as well, but yeah, I would definitely want that. But let's get to another question before we get out of here. What is one simple breath technique we can use to energize ourselves instead of having caffeine?
Use tongue connection, and you can, I mean, if you really want to do power breathing, you can. That really fires up the system, but you can step into the system and awaken it, which with much more ease. So, for example, the sound that I did for the lung sound connects to all the different areas in the body. So if you just did the lung sound, say for three uh, segments, say you did 3 reps of the entire lung sound, that's coming here with the sound, zzz, coming here, pulling it back, spreading the chest, and going above, looking up at the backs of the fingers. Just that literally creates a vibratory resonance which moves through every part of the body.
Mm.
So now you're being systemically energized by that one tone, because you're using the tone and you're using the motions which are activating the meridians that connect to that organ.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we about to get out of here. I appreciate everybody who asked the question. Wayne, man, it's such a pleasure having you on here again, brother. Definitely love having you on here and learning about breathing. This is something that, like I said, the vegan movement is big. We and it's very important that we eat healthy, but for whatever reason, we don't concentrate on a lot on breathing and proper breathing. So to have somebody that looks like us teach us the importance of breathing, it hits us harder. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we need to see a representation of us teaching us on the higher sciences that we neglect or that we don't focus on, my brother. So I thank you once again. Let the people know anything you got coming up. Like I know you be in Mexico and all of that.
Yeah, I don't have anything coming up in the States. I leave next month heading to the UK.
Mm,
I'll be in the UK, in London, Manchester, Birmingham, and Bristol. And then I bounce to the Netherlands. And for those that are in Cali, I'll be in Cali the beginning of the 4th week of June
mm,
doing a Qigong workshop in Sacramento.
mm. Excellent, excellent. And I'm definitely gonna call you, brother, and we'll talk about a future workshop, in-person workshop, and we'll see, what we could do with that. But once again, Wayne, thank you, my brother. Do what you got to do. And we also got to talk about doing a financial show as well for the people. That's
That
it.
would be really on point, man,
Yeah,
because we need it bad.
yeah.
Because the stuff that's coming around the corner, and we are so unprepared for what's
Hmm.
getting ready to happen.
Mhm.
Yeah, that would
Mm.
be tight. That would be real tight.
Mm, definitely. We maybe we could make the 2-day workshop, squeeze in finances
We can,
and breathe
because
it
they go hand in
hand in
hand.
hand. Yeah. Definitely, definitely. See, we're figuring this out on the spot, Wayne. We're figuring it out, my brother. But listen, hey, Wayne, thank you once again. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Brother Rich Black Magic 363. And with that being said, we get out of here, family. Peace. Peace, Wayne.
Peace.